Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus, Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, Galaxy Note 10 Plus, Galaxy S21 Ultra, Note 10 Plus, S21 Ultra, 10 Plus, 21 Ultra,
Plus Ultra!
Plus Ultra.
Plus Ultra! Plus!
Hey, it's John from Adults Have Toys Too. It's new phone time, for me at least, and I am replacing my Galaxy Note 10 Plus with the Galaxy S21 Ultra. So this is not going to be a full-on review of the S21 Ultra. This is going to be the perspective of somebody who owns a Note 10 Plus and is looking to move to the S21 Ultra. And I'm going to be looking at three main things. First off, does it live up to the reasons why I decided to go with the S21 Ultra? Secondly, what am I losing in going from the Note 10 Plus over to the S21 Ultra? And third, what really didn't change by getting the S21 Ultra? So kind of a good, bad, indifferent. There are three main reasons why I decided to get the S21 Ultra, even though I was pretty happy with my Note 10 Plus. First is, it would be nice to have a little bit more telephoto range. The Galaxy Note 10 Plus has a 2x telephoto lens, whereas the S21 Plus has a 3x telephoto lens and a 10x telephoto lens. One little thing on terminology that has been annoying me a little bit. The lenses that are on these phones are telephoto lenses. Now 3x and 10x is based off of what they consider to be 1x, so it's really not incredibly descriptive, but you get the picture. If you're talking about a zoom lens, you're talking about something like this, where you can change the focal length in the lens. Now these phones do zoom, they do a digital zoom between the different lenses, but the phone lenses themselves are telephoto lenses. Secondly, I really like high refresh rate screens. On my main PC, I have a 165 Hz display, and this comes with a 120 Hz display, which is a very incredibly smooth refresh rate. And thirdly, I was looking for a more responsive fingerprint sensor. Both of these phones use ultrasonic in-screen fingerprint sensors, but the one in the Note 10 Plus is pretty finicky. I've gotten used to it, so I'm pretty good at finding that sweet spot and being able to just get it, and even then, it's not 100%. Whereas the S21 Ultra has a 70% larger ultrasonic fingerprint sensor. So how does the S21 Ultra live up to those three expectations I was looking for? Well, the cameras are pretty impressive, and I think I'm actually going to do another review specifically talking about the cameras. But as far as having that bit of extra reach, it definitely delivers as long as your lighting is good. This may actually be able to replace my little pocketable point and shoot that I bring when I want that extra reach, but don't want to bring my whole camera setup. As far as the high refresh rate, I would say this delivers as well. It has an adaptive refresh rate that'll go from 10 Hz all the way up to 120 Hz, so that way you're not burning through your battery while you're just sitting on a static screen. And I'm pretty sensitive to refresh rates, and I've been trying to see that transition from one refresh rate to another, and I haven't been able to see it. So in my book, it looks great. And as far as that fingerprint sensor goes, it seems to work really well. I don't have to hit exactly on that sweet spot, and it seems to unlock faster and more reliably than my Note 10 Plus. So it looks like I met my goals going from the Note 10 Plus to the S21 Ultra. But what am I giving up by going to an S-series phone from a Note series phone? One of the notable omissions normally would be the loss of the S Pen, but the S21 Plus does something interesting in that it does support the S Pen. I do have the silicone case with the S Pen shipping, but I can use my Note 10 Plus S Pen on the S21 Ultra, those names, geez, and it works just fine. But one thing you'll lose with the S21 Ultra with the S Pen that they sell with it is any of the Bluetooth functionality. Now, I never really used any of the magic wand gestures or anything like that, but the one thing that was nice about it is that the button on the S Pen doubled as the shutter button for your camera. So you can do a long selfie, or you can keep the vibrations from touching the volume key or the shutter button on the phone itself down by pressing the shutter button remotely. The other S Pen feature that I'll be losing that I did use quite a bit was the screen off notes. So on the Note series, when you take the pen out while the screen is off, you could immediately start writing on the screen to make a note. It was real quick and convenient, though I don't think I'm going to miss it that much. I used it because it was there. Now, of course, some of the newsworthy items. In the S21 Ultra, you're losing SD card support. My Note 10 Plus was the 256 gigabyte version, which was the base level for this phone. And I think when you're talking flagships, 256 really should be the base level. I had a 128 gigabyte SD card in here. For my S21 Ultra, I picked up the 512 gigabyte version. So I have more space on this phone right now than I did on the Note 10 Plus. When you have an SD card, it is nice to compartmentalize the stuff that you have. I had all my photos going to the SD card, except for certain types of special photos that the camera can do, and some high refresh rate video. And the reason why those were going to internal memory is because internal memory is always going to be faster than what you have in the SD card slot. So with the S21 Ultra, I'm getting 512 gigabytes of extremely fast memory, and I don't have to worry about whether my photos or videos are on the card or if they're on the device itself. Now, of course, this doesn't excuse the fact that I could have had 512 gigabytes in the phone, plus the ability to expand my storage. So the move to drop the storage is an interesting one, but for me, not a deal breaker. I was a big fan of the Nexus series, and those very rarely had any sort of external storage options. Another thing that the S21 Ultra is missing that the Note 10 Plus does have is the MST mag stripe transmitting type of payment system. So I've been using mobile payments for a long time, all the way back when it was Android Pay on the Nexus S. And I was really excited when Samsung came out with Samsung Pay. That was part of the reason why I even went to the Samsung ecosystem in the first place. The ability to make payments on terminals that don't support NFC. And at the time, I think it was game-changing. But today, things are a little different. I've noticed that the MST has been really spotty on most terminals, and there's more places that do support NFC. And I'll say I've actually had a glimpse of the future on a trip I took to Ireland recently, where you can use tap to pay pretty much everywhere, including at restaurants where you can tap right there with the server. So while I loved MST for a while, I don't think I'm going to miss it here on this phone. Now let's talk screens for a moment. The Note series has been known for its screens. From the beginning, just the massive screen that it had really is what grabbed the attention of the Note series. And looking at the specs, both of these phones have 6.8-inch AMOLED screens that have really great colors, really great brightness, all sort of fun stuff. So really, other than that refresh rate, you would think there's not much in the way of difference. And as far as the way they look, that's true. The S21 Ultra supposedly has a brighter maximum brightness, and I'm sure they made a few improvements, but the Note 10 Plus still has an amazing screen, and I really don't see a difference as far as colors and contrast ratios go. But one thing I really do notice is the difference in aspect ratio and the corners. The Note 10 Plus screen, if you're holding it upright, has a little bit of a wider screen, and the corners are much, much sharper. Whereas the S21 Ultra has a little bit of a taller screen, and the corners are much more rounded. Now these might seem like minor quibbles, but they do make a significant difference in the feel of using these phones. The Note 10 Plus just feels like it has a bigger window that you're looking into. And with the screen pushed out to the corners, it makes the bezels feel that much smaller. But another reason for that might be the fact that while the S21 Ultra does have curves at the end of the screen, they are much more subtle than the ones on the Note 10 Plus. And I'm going to call that a win for the S21 Plus, because those curves can do a little bit of color shifting and things when they come all the way to the edges of the screen, where you don't see as much of that on the S21 Ultra because those curves don't fall off as much. But one win for the screen shape on the S21 Ultra is that certain videos that are wider than 16:9, I've had issues on the Note 10 Plus where the camera cutout will cut into the video just slightly. Whereas on the S21 Ultra, when you have it in landscape, it's wide enough to keep that camera cutout out of the video. So now as far as the indifferent factor. Like I said, the screen quality itself, I would say is identical other than the refresh rate. Neither one has a headphone jack. I haven't had it long enough to test the battery life, but I was not unhappy with the battery life on my Note 10 Plus, so I don't imagine I would be unhappy with the battery life on my Galaxy S21 Ultra. The speakers do seem a bit louder on the S21 Ultra, but again, for me, the Note 10 Plus was not a problem in that regard. S21 Ultra is obviously faster with more RAM and has more graphics, but I have not had any issues or come up against any walls with the Note 10 Plus. If I were paying outright for this phone, I would probably not buy it. But one thing Samsung does really well to maintain their customer base is they give great trade-in deals for previous phones. So since the Galaxy S8, I've actually been trading up phones through Samsung using that enhanced trade-in value to not have to deal with the hassle of selling phones and being able to buy the newest flagships. Now, is this good financial advice? Absolutely not. I'm extremely fortunate to be in a position where I could upgrade to the latest flagship phones on a fairly regular basis. But I would want to make sure that the phones I'm getting are something that match in with my lifestyle and something that I would enjoy using for the next year or two coming up. So if you do have a Galaxy Note 10 Plus, should you upgrade to the Galaxy S21 Ultra? Honestly, for most people, absolutely not. The Note 10 Plus is still an amazing phone, still works great, still has a lot of great features, and has nothing that's going to hold you back. But if you're an early adopting geek that likes to play with the newest toys, it might be a consideration. Though, Samsung does sell the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, which does still have SD card support, has the same aspect ratio, and has the integrated S Pen. But the S21 Ultra has polished up some of the camera features. Ultimately, nobody on YouTube should tell you exactly what to buy. You should just be grabbing the information that they're putting out there and using that to inform your own decision. So far, I'm happy with my S21 Ultra, and I will be keeping it at least until the next round. I will be looking at a few of the features a little bit more closely, especially the cameras. So if you want to take a look at that, be sure to subscribe. But until next time, never stop having fun.